Hello people. Lately we've seen some pro-Zionists posting videos and speeches about false facts which they thought everybody could believe, thinking that nobody knew the truth behind their facts. They had a strong argument, but now I'm gonna give an even stronger argument with more evidence. Mr. Ireland says that before 1967 there was a conflict. Hence the argument is that conflict preceded the occupation. This fact is true, except that he uses this to show that Arab hatred is ingrained. The conflict did not start in 1967, it started way back in 1881 when Zionist Jews decided that Palestine and Jerusalem was theirs. Ireland says the West Bank and Gaza had no Israeli presence, hence why would the PLO need to liberate it? The PLO emblem gives us the answer, he says, as if totally ignoring the fact that Israel to this day on its map shows the West Bank and Gaza Strip as part of the State of Israel. But okay, let us ignore hypocrisy and double standards, there was a Holocaust. Ireland said the PLO was created to wipe Israel off the map, a goal clearly stated in the Charter. This is curious considering Nasser created the PLO originally with the desire to control the issue and seemed to be the champion of the Palestinians, much to the dismay of King Hussein. This was a continuation of the long-standing policy of Arabs saying no. No to the national liberation and self-determination for Jews, he said. Back in the 1910s, the Arab movement at the time gave credence and respect to the mission of Zionism for self-determination of Jews in Palestine. It offered proposals for joint brotherhood to achieve this goal, but again, it never happened. Ireland says, not recognizing the ancestral Jewish homeland, actually, it is the complete opposite. Most Arabs and organizations recognize that Jews have a connection to this land, since Arabs, especially Muslims, accept this if they believe in the Quran, and most Arabs see Jews as brothers. In 1937, the Peel Commission gave Jews 4% of their historic homeland. This is pure propaganda. Jews were not in Jordan even before the division of Palestine, and Jordan was not up for debate in 1937. It is what people call a non-issue. In 1947, the UN voted for partition that gave the Arabs far more than the West Bank, but the Arabs still said no, while the Jews said yes. The Arabs then went on war of extermination, Ireland said. It is true if we ignore everything else. It offered 67% of the indigenous population 43% of their land, and gave 56% of the land to the Jews, who were 33% of the population, with 1% going to Jerusalem and Bethlehem. Jews owned fewer than 7% of the land in a non-continuous area and said yes only after the Palestinians said no. And the Arab states did not join the war until May 15, 1948, 7 months after the Zionists ethnically cleansed over 300,000 Palestinians from what became Israel. And they say they saw no peace while they were killing and murdering people. Israel took over the West Bank in a war of self-defense, said Ireland. At no time during deliberations of UN Resolution 242 did the topic of Israeli self-defense come up or be considered by the writers, because they knew it was not true. Israel's war was drawn up months, if not years, in advance and was preemptive, which is illegal under international law, plain and simple. No debates. Hello, and welcome back. Let's continue our speech. Now, Ireland says that after the war, the Arab League deflected all attempts at peace. This is totally wrong. With a little bit of reading, it's easy to find out that Egypt and Jordan openly spoke for diplomacy, while the Israelis only offered the Sinai and the Golan Heights back. Nothing else, ever. But I guess reading is overrated, huh, you know? Okay, now let's fast forward to 1993. When the Palestinians finally said yes, and established a government with help of the Israelis. Okay, now, let's fast forward to 1993, when the Palestinians finally said yes and established a government with the help of the Israelis. And an Israeli reporter said that the Palestinians did a better security job than they could have ever done. Oslo violence began in 1914 with the murder of 29 Palestinians and the injury of over 150 in 1994. In the next 5 years, both Israelis and Palestinians noticed an increase in attacks from both sides. Ireland says in 2000 93% of the West Bank and Gaza Strip were offered for Palestinians, while showing racism and saying that there were Palestinians rejected. Well, first, Ehud Barak never made that offer of 93% of land being given. He offered Palestinian state with no borders of its own, cut into pieces with most settlements given to Israel. Ayman says that Israel uprooted 8,500 Israelis from Gaza trying to advance peace. All lies. There was only about 7,500 people, from which more than half left before the evacuation. He says that rocket attacks after the evacuation went up 500%. This is true, but it was useless since the people were away and they couldn't reach their targets. In 2006, Olmert gives Palestinians almost all of their demands. He says, well, first, considering Olmert never offered 100% contrary to the plight chart he shows, and refugees were barely considered. Jerusalem was divided along ethnic lines, and the Dome of the Rock issue was never officially settled. Now that I have given you all these true facts with enough evidence, I hope you know the true history and the true facts behind the Israeli occupation. And I hope you have a good day, and thank you very much.